The ongoing trade war with the U.S. drags on. Canada's automakers are feeling the impact.
In just a matter of hours, President Trump will unveil new trade tariffs. This comes after a flurry of on-again, off-again tariffs on goods imported from several countries, including Canada, on top of new automotive tariffs set to go into effect tomorrow on foreign cars and parts.
Donald Trump thought he'd seen it all. Trade wars. Been there. Tariffs. Done that. Feuds with world leaders. Practically a hobby. But what he didn't see coming was Canada, the country best known for maple syrup, hockey, and apologizing, suddenly standing up, dropping the niceties, and hitting back hard. And no, this isn't some polite sorry but please stop kind of clapback. This is full-blown, headline-making, policy-crushing Canadian fire. So buckle up, because the land of snow and syrup just went savage. And Trump? He didn't even flinch until the shockwaves hit the White House. Let's dive into the diplomatic snowstorm no one saw coming. Our setting the stage, the calm before the storm. It all started, as these things often do, with a tweet. Back during Trump's presidency, his bold and often blunt approach to foreign policy didn't exactly sit well with America's closest neighbors. And Canada, while typically playing it cool, had been quietly absorbing jab after jab. We're talking tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, threats to dismantle NAFTA, accusations that Canada was taking advantage of the U.S., and of course, a generous sprinkle of name-calling during press conferences. At first, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau played the peacekeeper. He smiled. He nodded. He did. The whole diplomatic silence thing. But every beaver has its breaking point. The first slap, trade war escalation. When Trump slapped 25% tariffs on Canadian steel and 10% on aluminum, it was like poking a polite bear with a hot stick. Canada didn't just take it lying down. They retaliated, imposing $4 tariffs on $12.6 billion worth of U.S. goods. We're talking everything from American whiskey and ketchup to motorboats and even toilet paper. Yep, Canada basically said, you tax our steel, we'll tax your backyard barbecues. It was the most passive-aggressive act of aggression the world had seen. And it hit exactly where it hurts, American exports. The G7 showdown, when smiles turned savage. Flash forward to the G7 summit. Things were already tense. Trump arrived late, left early, and skipped climate discussions entirely. But the real drama unfolded after he left. Trudeau held a press conference saying Canada would not be pushed around, which in Canadian terms is basically shouting. Trump responded on Twitter, calling Trudeau dishonest and weak, and things exploded from there. Canadian media fired back. Memes spread like wildfire. Late-night shows had a field day. And for the first time, people were saying, did Canada just throw hands? The dairy debacle, milking the issue. Then came the dairy war. Trump had long claimed that Canada's supply-managed dairy system was unfair and that American farmers were losing out. His solution? Slapped more pressure on the Canadian economy. Canada's response? They didn't just defend their system, they used it as a bargaining chip in renegotiating NAFTA into the USMCA. And here's the twist, while they made minor concessions, they outnegotiated the US in key sectors like autos and digital commerce. In short, they gave a little and gained a lot. The headlines weren't kind to Trump. Canada outsmarts Trump at the trade table. Trudeau's quiet. Triumph in USMCA talks. Trump wanted to win. Canada got the last laugh. Ouch. 2025. The aftershocks are still hitting. Now in 2025, Trump is once again center stage in U.S. politics, teasing another run and firing off campaign promises like confetti. But the Canadian government hasn't forgotten. In fact, they've been building up economic safeguards, diversifying trade relationships, and increasing investment in domestic manufacturing to avoid future U.S. dependency. When Trump recently hinted at reimposing tariffs if re-elected, Canada preemptively hit back, this time with a diplomatic campaign targeting American lawmakers, lobbyists, and global trade allies. Their message: we're not the same Canada from 2018. This time, they are playing the game before the first move is even made. Canada's new playbook: powerful, precise, and petty. What's different now? For one, Canada's foreign policy under Trudeau 2.0, yes, is still in charge, shockingly, has gone from cautious to calculating. Instead of reacting, they are predicting. Instead of apologizing, they are strategizing. They've strengthened ties with the EU, finalized new trade deals in Asia, introduced policies to tax American tech giants operating on Canadian soil. And yes, they are now openly criticizing U.S. environmental rollbacks. Even Canadian social media is spicier. You've got government officials posting memes and shade, like it's international Twitter warfare. And Trump, he didn't see any of this coming. The culture clapback, when Canadians get petty. Let's not forget, this isn't just politics, it's culture war too. Canadian late-night hosts, celebrities, and influencers have been dragging Trump's policies with surgical precision. Ryan Reynolds called out Trump's economic tantrums. Seth Rogen dropped unfiltered comments that sent Fox News into a spiral. Even Drake took veiled shots in interviews. And when Trump's legal troubles started piling up in 2025, Canadian media had a buffet of told-you-so commentary. It's not just political anymore. It's personal. The money talks. American companies get nervous. Here's the twist. Canada's retaliation isn't just symbolic. It's financially strategic. American companies operating in Canada, think fast food chains, tech platforms, and logistics giants, are now facing stricter tax regulations, delayed approvals, consumer boycotts, increased competition from domestic startups, and with public sentiment heavily favoring Buy Canadian in 2025, big American brands are sweating harder than Trump during a climate change briefing. What Trump didn't expect, the world takes notes. Here's the kicker. Canada's quiet strength has become a blueprint for other nations. Australia, watching. Germany, applauding. France, probably claiming they did it first. Trump's approach of pressure until they break worked on weaker economies. But with Canada, it backfired. Instead of folding, they restructured. Instead of retreating, they rallied. It's David versus Goliath, except David brought a lawyer, an economist, and free healthcare. So what's the moral of the story? Never underestimate a nation just because they say sorry before punching you in the face. Canada, the land of moose, mounties, and manners, proved that diplomacy can be deadly, especially when wrapped in politeness and backed by billions. Trump thought he could steamroll his way through global politics. But this time, he ran into a wall of ice, policy, and passive-aggressive power moves. And as the world watches, one thing is clear. Canada isn't just playing defense anymore. They are leading the playbook for 21st century clapbacks. So the next time someone says, "It's just Canada," just smile. Because somewhere in Ottawa, a government official is quietly sipping Tim Hortons and planning the next headline that'll shake the White House.